Welcome back to the Real News Network. We're in Boston, Massachusetts with Tom Ferguson. He teaches at the University of Mass in Boston. Thanks for joining us again, Tom. So in the first few segments of the interview, we essentially came down to the issue of bank regulation and what's happening in the whole finance sector. And the crash of the bubble in the finance sector gave rise to all kind of chorus of it's time for regulation. It looks like not much is happening there. The stimulus is you were saying, is not nearly big enough. The health care bill is more or less being weakened, the public option, like all the various things Obama planned. But perhaps most importantly, on the finance sector side, nothing much is changing. Why?
Well, I'm afraid it's the love that dare not speak its name. That is to say, money in American politics. I mean, ironically, just as the Supreme Court appears on the verge of ruling out all restrictions on corporation spending in politics, even with those restrictions, these guys have got enough to, they put up enough cash directly in campaigns, but also in the enormous amounts of what an unsympathetic observer like myself would regard as bribes in the form of speeches and things like that for White House officials. Now, they say in the White House, they're presumably not still taking $100,000 for speeches from Wall Street firms, but just about everybody was before they went into the White House. What's the matter with the, I mean, why isn't it obvious that we have a money-driven political system?
We'll talk specifically about Obama, because Obama's certainly in the election campaign, last half was...
on this one, I can claim to be free of sin. That is to say, I said from the beginning that the Obama candidacy was floated by the financial industry, most of all.
So what's the evidence of that?
Well, I do my own tabulations on money, and I did put out this little thing back in March 2008. That's well before the primaries, you know, before he was actually sort of confirmed as the nominee, though it was pretty well over by then. My sample of large investors showed he was running dead even with Hillary Clinton, which was remarkable, all through 2007. And in 2008, then he broadened out later.
Running dead even, you mean in terms of the amount of money raised on Wall Street?
No, I mean in terms of the number of people from America's richest people, the richest people and corporations in the United States. If you just count them all evenly, they were just about dead even in terms of numbers of contributors. That's remarkable given that, you know, Clinton had been in American politics at a very high level for a decade or more. I mean, it's really quite amazing. And I mean, it's now no secret. I mean, at the time it kind of was a secret. I mean, certainly nobody talked about it in the U.S. press. But I mean, now we all hear that Robert Rubin and his proteges have a huge hold on the Obama administration. It's all true. We hear a little less, in fact, we don't hear much at all, not nearly enough about the Financial Services Committee, Barney Frank and Company, or about the Senate Banking Committee. These two are heavy pockets of cash. You know, I mean, Frank told the Boston Globe just a week or two ago with a straight face that he believed he was getting all this money because his donations are way up because he was charming. Looks to me like he got it because they were, in effect, gutting the derivatives bill in that committee. That would be my guess.
Is there any reason to see that this administration is any more beholden to Wall Street than the previous or any other? I mean, is this like just par for the course for American politics, or is there something specific going on?
Well, it's all worse in the last 30 years, in the sense strictly from the financial standpoint. The finance now bulks so enormously in, say, the per share of profits in the whole economy. In about 2005, 2006, just about half or more of all corporate profits were sitting in finance. That's pretty crazy. That's bigger. I mean, and so, yeah, they're likely to have a particular hold there. I would say this, though. If you look at the sort of compare the financing of the Democrats and Republicans, which I've actually done for now a couple decades, typically the finance role in the financing of the party as a proportion of all the other folks involved is often higher, at least among the largest investors in the party. In that sense, I mean, in the Republican Party, you know, you get big oil, big mining, big nearly everybody. In the Democrats, you typically have a smaller block. I mean, the finance folks, technology, a lot of capital-intensive industries of various sorts. However impressed you are with the Democratic money, the Republican stream is always larger. It's like an Amazon against a Mississippi.
Well, is there any reason that the Republicans, I mean, there's certainly not, one wouldn't expect any more regulation of the finance sector than you'd get out of the Democrats. Are we going to, is the Obama administration going to give us somewhat more regulation than one would see out of the Republicans?
I don't see any sign of it thus far.
So it really just doesn't make any
They
difference.
haven't asked for anything substantive. They got even less out of financial services as the bill goes through the Senate. There's not much, at the moment, not much promise of that happening. No, I think the real service the Obama administration has done for finance that the Republicans couldn't do is to sort of cool down public sentiment in the sense that everybody still walks around with this quite rather obsolete model of the Democrats are the party of the people. I mean, I see this even in well-known economists' writings. The Democrats are the party of people and the Republicans are the party of Wall Street. Well, there's nothing better than if the party of Wall Street, in fact, is the party of the people at the sort of popular understanding, and then they just chill everybody out. That's the big, I think nobody else could do that. And the Obama administration, you know, they tell, you know, you can actually see them occasionally telling unions and progressive spokespersons that, oh, well, you got to be patient, it's very difficult, blah, 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 you know.
And most of the unions believe it.
One might well wonder how foolish many union leaders really are.
Well, there's a great feeling, I've talked to a lot of them, there's a great feeling he's still our guy, he's doing his best, he's dealing, and there's truth to it, is there not? I mean,
well,
it's very hard to pass anything in the Senate.
Everything depends on the frame of reference. Compared to what? You know, if the choice is, you know, whichever, you know, many of the many serial adulterers there are in the Republican Party competing for the presidency or something, absolutely for sure. You know, sure, Obama's got to be their guy. On the other hand, if you actually want something done about financial regulation, if you'd like to see some reasonable labor regulations, if you'd actually indeed like to see forms of government intervention that would go down to the level of the ordinary person, you know, with mortgage relief and serious job programs, he's not your guy.
Okay, in the next segment of our interview, let's just talk about what kind of recovery is it anyway, when we're maybe approaching something like 20% unemployment. Thanks for joining us, and join us again for the continuation of our interview with Tom Ferguson.